You have been in a room full of people talking, laughing, sharing opinions, and you said almost nothing. Not because you were bored, not because you were shy, but because something inside you was busy doing something else entirely. You were watching. You were reading the room. You were picking up on things that nobody else even noticed. And later, when everyone had gone home, you replayed the whole evening in your mind and understood it better than anyone who was actually talking the whole time. If that sounds familiar, this video is going to feel like someone finally put words to something you have carried your entire life. There is a certain kind of person in this world. They do not dominate conversations. They do not rush to fill silence. They sit back, they take it all in, and they process. People sometimes mistake this for passiveness. They call it being reserved, being cold, being antisocial. But what is actually happening inside that person is one of the most sophisticated psychological processes a human being can perform. The brain of someone who observes more than they speak is constantly running at a level most people never reach. While others are thinking about what they want to say next, the observer is noticing the micro-expressions on your face. They are tracking the inconsistency between your words and your body language. They are filing information, cross-referencing it with past behavior, and building a complete picture of who you actually are versus who you are pretending to be. This is not something they were taught. It is something they developed. And in most cases, it was not developed out of curiosity. It was developed out of necessity. Many deep observers grew up in environments where reading the room was not a luxury, it was survival. When you cannot predict what mood someone is going to walk through the door in, you learn to read every signal available. You learn to feel the energy before the words even come. You train yourself to detect danger in silence, tension in a smile, and dishonesty in over-explanation. So what looks like a quiet personality from the outside is actually a highly calibrated internal system that has been running for years. And here is where the psychology gets genuinely fascinating. Studies in social cognition suggest that people who speak less in group settings tend to retain significantly more information about those around them. They remember what you said 3 conversations ago. They noticed when your story changed. They clocked the moment you looked uncomfortable when a certain topic came up. They are not doing this to be manipulative. They are doing it because their mind cannot turn it off. Observation is not a habit for these people. It is a mode of existing. But this gift, because it absolutely is a gift, comes wrapped in a very specific kind of loneliness. When you see everything, you also see the gaps. You see what people are not saying. You see the masks. And the more clearly you see people, the harder it becomes to feel truly seen yourself. Because who is watching the watcher? Who is reading you the way you read everyone else? Very few people. And that absence creates a quiet ache that is difficult to explain to someone who has never felt it. There is also a particular frustration that comes with this way of being. You can see a situation unraveling before anyone else does. You can see the mistake about to be made, the relationship about to collapse, the decision that is going to cost someone everything. And because you say very little, because people have learned to read your silence as having no input, nobody asks. And you watch it happen anyway, and you feel the weight of knowing something that was never yours to fix. This is why many deep observers struggle in a world that rewards performance over perception. Modern culture celebrates the loudest voice in the room. It promotes the person who speaks with confidence, regardless of whether what they are saying has any actual depth. Meanwhile, the observer sits quietly, holding observations that could shift the entire conversation, waiting for the moment that rarely comes when someone finally says, "What do you think?" And when that moment does come, when someone actually stops and genuinely asks for their perspective, the observer does not just give you an opinion, they give you a map. They hand you a complete, fully formed analysis that accounts for angles you never considered, because they have been building it in silence the entire time. That is the truth about people who observe more than they speak. They are not absent from the conversation. They are having a much deeper version of it, entirely within themselves.